I hear this voice say 4 words that changed my life forever. And it came in a deep voice. The guy says, "Give me your jacket." And at the time, let me use some context. At the time, in my neighborhood, if you had something that was valuable or not, so you had some new J's or you had some name brand clothes, like you could have a Target on your back. It wasn't uncommon for people in my neighborhood to get jumped if somebody else wanted what you had. And so for me, it was this University of Michigan scholarship jacket. I'm from Detroit, my family is, and so it was a big deal. Now, my family comes, like Denise said, my family comes from very humble background, certainly don't have money and trust and things like that, so they worked hard just to put food on the table, keep a roof over our head for me and my siblings. So, dropping that kind of money on a jacket back then, it was about $200, but that's 1994, about $500 now. That wasn't something my parents were fixing to do, not on a jacket. I worked for that jacket. I worked all summer, cutting grass and washing cars all throughout my neighborhood all summer long, just so I could get the jacket. So I certainly wasn't just fixing to give it up. But I hear it again, the voice tells me again, "Give me your jacket." And so at this time, they're holding me on the ground and they're literally trying to rip the jacket off of me. Now the jacket, it's a pullover. So to get it off, you have to take your arms out. And so I knew right then I had a decision to make. I could either pull my arms out and the beating would stop and the pain would stop and they would take my jacket, or I could cross my arms, which would leave me defenseless from this beatdown I was taking, but I could keep my coat. And so that's when I decided I was going to keep the jacket. As you can see, I still have the coat. Now the cuts and bruises were real. The pain was real. The situation was what it was, but these guys figured out pretty quickly that I wasn't going to just give the jacket. And so eventually they stopped, like most bad things in life. They come and they go. And they stopped and they got back in the car and drove off. But I had like a roller coaster of emotions all the next week. Could you imagine going to school with black eyes and a busted lip? I had bruises all over my arms and legs. It was embarrassing. And I'll never forget it. We were sitting at lunch one day, me and a couple of friends of mine. This is right after it happened, and the football coach walked up. He walked up to the table, big guy, and leaned over on the table, and he said, "Son, I heard about what happened to you." I didn't know if I was in trouble or what. He says, "I want you to know that I'm proud." And I was thinking to myself, what is this guy talking about? He said, "I heard that you stood your ground against 3 guys. 3 guys much bigger and older than you. That's a courage." He said, "I heard that you fought to keep that jacket," because I was wearing it that day. To keep that jacket. He said, "You could have easily just given it to him and all that pain would have stopped, but you showed determination. And that says a lot about your character. I'm proud of you." And you walked off. And I'll never forget, like, in that exact moment, what I thought is just another bad thing in my life, just another terrible day. Bad stuff happens in my neighborhood all the time. It wasn't nothing special. The way that he reframed that adversity in my life changed the way that I saw adversity. Not that it makes it everything good, but that there was good that could be pulled out of it if you looked from the right angle. So, I say all that to say that the events that happen in your life, not everything is going to be good. There are going to be some challenges. But the attitude that you have about what happens to you is more important than the actual event. Because you can't control the things that happen to you, but you 100% can control the attitude that you have about what happens to you. So we're talking today about being a straight-A student in life. Right? That's the first A I want to talk to you about, is attitude. So this is the definition they got for attitude. It says, a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something. Typically, it's reflected in a person's behavior, like how you act. Your attitude is basically just your behavior and action. And I love how it starts. It says, a settled way. Like a lot of times, you have a settled way about how you feel about something before an event even happens, before you walk into a room, before circumstances happen. The people in your life, your parents, your family, your friends, have all affected the framework of how you look at things, your attitude. So for me, growing up, I remember there were some things that I picked up, and maybe it's a cultural thing for me. My dad's Hispanic, my mom's Italian, and I can hear him saying them right now. I can hear his voice. It says, you gotta work hard for what you want. You gotta work hard for what you want, Saul. If you want it, you gotta work hard for it. And really all he was saying is don't get outworked. He said, you may not be the smartest person there, you may not have privilege like other people, but you can control 100% your work ethic. So don't be outworked. Another thing he used to say was, don't be a Mexican, don't be a Mexican. And for him, that was his way of saying, don't quit. Like, don't quit. Whatever you're doing, just don't quit. And the blood is thicker than water was another thing he used to say a lot. It just meant that, like, family was the number one priority. You know, for my family, for my culture, that was a big deal. Family was number one priority. And the respect is earned. It's a solid respect is earned. And what he was saying is that how you carry yourself and to be a person of your word matters. Like in every aspect of life. So these are all things, these were attitudes that were deposited in my life at a young age that I felt like to this day have carried value. Have helped me through all kinds of different places in my life. But not everything that I was taught, everything that I was exposed to was positive. Because we didn't have much, it was easy for my family and my friends and people in my neighborhood to fall victim, to have like a victim mentality, right? For if things weren't going your way or you didn't have what you wanted to have, it was because of the color of your skin, it was because of the neighborhood you lived in, it was because of the government, it was because of the job, all these different reasons. And I'm not saying that sometimes they weren't valid. But sometimes the truth was, it was just because of unwise decisions that people would make. So it's extremely important, especially I think for young kids to understand that, like, if you walk with that mindset, that victim mentality, that the only person that it hurts is you. Because blaming the world and blaming every situation for why you don't have what you want or why you're not where you want to be, all it does is give the power to everybody else. Now, I'm not saying that means that everything is fair. That there aren't some injustices or there aren't some things that are racially unequal. I'm not saying that. But having a mindset of controlling your attitude changes everything. It changes everything about it. So, not having that victim mentality, what I say is the first part of an attitude that I had to be intentional about, like purging from my heart and from my mind the older that I got. Because when you come from a neighborhood like mine, it's easy to feel that way. It's easy to feel like everybody else has and we don't. Everybody has these kind of cars and we don't. I remember when I was in high school, I would park in the very back of the parking lot. Because I didn't want nobody sitting in my car. Especially not to the school that I went to. But that's not the case. And I know for a fact, whether you truly understand it or not, at this place in your life, like, you are blessed, you are favored, and there's a purpose for your life, and it's to help you, it's to move you forward, and your attitude has everything to do with that. Let me ask you guys are here, this is the college campus. How many of you plan on going to college in this room? What college are you going to? Or where would you like to go? Not sure? What about you?
That's okay.
Right here?
UT Arlington.
UT Arlington? Anybody else? I saw them with hands go up. Where? Where are you going? Where you want to go? It's okay. I didn't hear you. Did you repeat that? Oh, okay, let's back it up. We'll do something easier. We're in Canton. I'm from Fort Worth, so I drove down there. Who can tell me the best place to get tacos here? I know you know. Don't act like you don't know. You guys eat lunch at your mom's house. Where else? Where can I get the best tacos in King? What do you think? Best tacos. What about the best pizza? Where can we get the best pizza in King, Texas? Mr. Jim's? Anybody else? Pizza Hut? I like Jets. So you said earlier that your mom's house was the best place to get tacos, right? So how far would you drive for your mom's tacos? Drive 30 minutes? Okay. Would you drive an hour? Right. Because we're the best, right? Worth the drive. My mother-in-law was battling cancer, and she was going to different doctors in Fort Worth. And they were all good doctors, but we loved her. We wanted her to get the best care. So we asked, where can we go to find the very best doctor for cancer? And they said, you need to check out this hospital in Houston. It's called MD Anderson. They are the best. They're the specialists. When my wife's car breaks down, she always wants me to take it to the dealership. Now, the dealership is more expensive than like the mechanic shop on the corner. But she said something to me, and it has just always stayed with me. She said, I want to take it to the dealership because they make the car, they specialize in it. Nobody knows how to fix this car better than the people that made it. They are specialists. They're the best at fixing this car. So even though it costs more money, we take it there. Not because we're made out of money, but because my kid's safety, my wife's safety, that's the top priority for me. So I want the best to make sure that that car's safer than the drive when we're on the road. Just like we would drive 5 hours happily back and forth to Houston to go to MD Anderson for my mother-in-law to get the best cancer doctor. Because when you're the best, you don't have to chase money. If you're Googling something, what's the first thing that you Google? It don't matter what it is. Movie theater, pizza, cheeseburger, dry cleaners, best, whatever near me. Nobody ever Googles the average chiropractor near me, the average high school near me. Everybody wants the best. Everybody wants the best. And when you have the best, in order to be the best, you have to continue to learn at whatever it is you're doing. Right? That's the second A I want to talk to you about this morning. Advancement. That's why you're here, right? Like the best and fastest way to advance yourself in whatever area of life you want to do is going to college. Like that's the easiest first step you can do. And you might be saying, you know, my family ain't got the money for college. Like we can't afford to go to college. And it's okay, I was in that boat. But I'll tell you this, I really want to challenge you to reframe that thought. Because the truth is, you can't afford not to go to college. All right? Let me give you some numbers, just because I'm a numbers guy. 1 second. Let's see. So if you don't have a degree, the average salary is about $30,000 a year. That's like $575 a week, give or take. If you have a degree, it doesn't even matter what it's in. If you have a degree, the average salary is $69,000 a year. That's like $1,350-ish a week. That's a big difference. It's almost twice as much. And I know what you're thinking, well, like that, what does that have to do with me paying for college? From where we're standing right now, you could be in a car and in 40 minutes be at Tarrant County College, which is a great school, and you can go there for about $8,000 a semester. Like, so you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. $8,000 a semester. And I'll do you one even better. I promise you that there is money available, without even knowing you in this room, just by looking at you guys, I know that there is money available right now for you guys to go to school. The scholarships that they make available right now. We've got one called, let's see here. Because I know it'll help you, you can actually see what they are. One second. The first one is HSC. Am I saying this right? Give me 1 second. HSF, Hispanic Scholarship Fund. Up to $5,000. You know what the qualifications are? You gotta be Hispanic and you gotta keep a B minus. That's like an 82. You don't have to be a genius to qualify for that. There's another one called CHCI, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. You get up to $5,000. And the qualifications are you gotta be Hispanic and you have to show the possibility of showing leadership skills. How many of you have younger siblings? Well, there you go. You've been leading. LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, you get up to $2,000. Be Hispanic, make a B. These aren't different, this is just a couple. And you can compound these. It's not like you get one scholarship and that's all you can get. You can pull 50 of them together if you want, but you can use just those 3 to get where you want to go at TCC. You can take a bus from here to there if this is where you live. It's not that hard. All I'm saying is that the money's out there, the opportunity is there. If you want to go to school, you can. And saying that you can't afford it that's a cop-out not because of effort, but because of ignorance, of not being aware of what's out there. If you know it's there and you don't want to go, it's different to choose not to go than to say that I can't go. Another thing about schools, I remember it wasn't just money, because I felt like my family taught me how to make money from a young age. Cutting grass, I told you earlier, washing cars, I used to sell baseball cards, anything I could do to make $1. But what I realized is what was taught in higher education was different. I was taught how to earn money. I was never taught how to learn money. And I want you to catch that, because there's a big difference between earning money and learning money. Earning money is like going to get a job, starting a business, investing, something that's going to generate money. Learning money is the skill of using informed information to make decisions. When I remember I used to think about when I saw people that had stuff and I'm like, well, we just don't have what they have. Well, the truth was my family just didn't know what they knew. It's different if how many people in here know at some point you're going to die? Every person that's ever been born is going to die. So if that's the case, why doesn't every single person have a life insurance policy? Like you plan for your birthday, you plan for New Year's Eve. Why don't we do that? In my house, it was never talked about. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't an important topic. But what happens is when that type of thing starts happening from generation to generation, you have one generation leaving money to the next, and they leave it to the next. And then you can start living off of compounded interest, which is a whole crazy mathematical formula that will change your life if you understand it. Like if you started right now, putting $100 a month aside, $100. By the time that you're about 58, you'd have $1 million. I know it sounds crazy. But it's because the interest compounds on the interest, it compounds on the interest. And this is the kind of thing we're talking about with learning money. Like as a minority, I was never taught that. Not from the house. It wasn't until I started getting into a higher education environment, college environment, where I started hearing conversations I had never heard before. And it was a big deal. It was a game changer, because you can get to the point where you can work for money, or where your money can work for you. It just depends on if you feel like you want to do it for the rest of your life. So that's the second A, is your advancing yourself. I'm
My wife said I'm a business owner. You guys ever had Takis chips? You know what Takis is? Like a rolled up Dorito, super spicy, nitro, fuego. So that's one of my biggest customers. I own a trucking company. We've been shipping Takis all over the country for the better part of 20 years. So I've been hiring people for decades. And one of the first things that I'm always looking for is a degree. And to be honest, I don't even care what it's in. And most employers don't. So if you're caught up on the idea that I don't know what I want to specialize in, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life, don't let that stop you from going to school. Because the truth is, when you sit in front of somebody and they see that you have a college education, that you have a degree, it says to them the same thing that the coach said to me. He wasn't there when it happened. He wasn't a part of the experience. He just knew that there was a certain character traits that he pulled out of who I was from that experience. When an employer sees you and you sit across from them and you show them that you have the dedication, the discipline to see it all the way through for 4 years, that you pushed through the tough times, you pushed through the long nights, you studied when you didn't want to, you met deadlines, it tells them that you're committed. It tells them that you have the ability to learn. And so for me, that's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for as an employee. So it's not about if your specialty or your degree lines up exactly with the job you want. That's just one of the things that we know comes from what that looks like. And so that whole process just shows me that you know how to apply yourself. Right? That's the third A. And I'm not talking about like the application when you're trying to get a job at Starbucks. I'm talking about application of the way of how do you apply the attitude that you have, the information that you have been learning as you've been advancing what you want into your life. Like how are you doing that? That's the definition that says put it into action. Because the truth is, you could walk out of here and say, man, you know what, Saul, I'm going to keep a positive attitude. I'm going to look at my challenges different. I'm going to try to pull things out from the silver lining from my bad situations. I'm even going to work hard on advancing myself, learning new skills, getting more information, reading books, putting knowledge in. I'm going to do that. But if you don't apply yourself, if you don't apply what you've learned, and if you don't apply that positive attitude to moving forward, it isn't going to do you any good. Because I tell you, life is just like a rubber band. Until you stretch it to its max capacity, you don't even serve your purpose. I remember running into the hallway frantically at this hotel and trying to find a phone so I could call my parents. I needed $1,000. It was like life or death. At least it felt like life or death to me. Because what happened is earlier that day I was talking to my little brother at the time. He was working at this hotel, and he says I was telling him that I really had a dream in my heart about owning my own business. And he said, man, you should go check out what they're doing at my job. They're having this free conference about how the government gives away tens of thousands of dollars for free every year through grants. I was like, free money? He said, yeah, you didn't have to pay to go to the conference. You just show up. So I jumped in the car. I sat through this conference all day long, and I heard talk about how they were literally giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars for businesses, all kinds of businesses. And that all you had to do was learn how to write a grant proposal, and you could get this free money. And so I'd always had the dream to have a business. I just never had the resources to do it. And I thought, man, this is all I needed. This is the missing key, is the money. Right? And so what they said was, what we're selling is we have these kits that will teach you everything you need to know to write a grant to get the free money. The problem was, there was 300 people in this room, and there was 50 kits. That's why I'm in panic mode and running after. But to be honest, at this time of my life, I'm not really showing my parents anything. I'm in and out of trouble. I'm partying all the time. I'm showing zero responsibility in like any area of my life. And so this phone call, I feel like I already know what I'm going to get met with when I call my parents, right? And I already told you earlier they didn't have a lot of money, so asking for $1,000 might have been as well just asking for $1 million. But I had to try. Like I sat there all day, and I was sold out to this idea that I could do it. So I called my parents and asked them for it, and it was the craziest thing. That not only did they say, yeah, that they would loan me the money for it, but they were happy about it. And at the time, I didn't really understand fully what they saw in me. Now that I've got kids, I can definitely have a different perspective on it. But really what happened was, for me, it was the first time that I believed that my parents believed in me and what I could do. And to be honest, that sparked something in my heart that made me believe that maybe I really could do it. Because the idea of not having the money was what was stunting that belief system. So they believed I could do it. I believed I could do it. I got the kit, and I was off running. So now I've got the grant writing kit. I'm spending every day writing my business plan every day, every night. I'm going to classes, anything I can learn on business, reading books. I got a mentor, so I'm applying all this advancement that I'm making in my skill set and my knowledge. And so I'm ready. But the truth is, like the grant kit thing, it ended up being a scam. No free money that was falling from the sky. And it was tough because I knew what a sacrifice my family made to do it. But here's what happened. During that process of me trying to get all this free money, that I started to believe it more and more. And the more I believed it, the realer it became to me. And so now what happened is, even though the kit and the free money, that wasn't real, the belief had already fired up in my heart so much that I was committed to it. I had already wrote the business plan. I already had my family was behind me. They were supporting me every day. So they're believing in me. I'm believing in myself. I already had the business plan. So I just committed to myself. I was going to just keep looking for funding. I was going to just keep pushing until somebody looked at my business plan and gave me the money that I needed to do. That was almost 20 years ago. Today, we have 12 employees, and on my 31st birthday, I framed my tax return to show that we made just over $1 million at 31. Puerto Rican kid from a bad neighborhood with no money. I say that to say this, is that it doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish. It doesn't matter where you are and what you have now. It doesn't have to be like your circumstances right now don't have to determine your destiny, your future, where you're going to go. And I'm telling you, I'm living proof that it's real. When people talk about the American dream, if you're willing to go out and get it, and you'll do the things that we talked about today, and just apply, because I can be anywhere right now. But the truth is, it's important for me that you understand this, that you hear it, for real. I'm not here to push you just to go to college. I want you to know that if you don't like where you're at, if you want a brighter future, if you want more out of life, you can get it. It's there. It's real. It wasn't easy to get where we are. It wasn't easy. It didn't come without failure after failure after failure. We had to try and reboot and restart. And we learned along the way. But it's possible. It really is possible to be able to do it. So I want to leave you with just a couple of thoughts before I leave, because at the end of the day, you're going to walk out of here, we're going to have lunch, and whether you heard anything I said or not, or if you take any of the 3 A's we talked about, your attitude, advancing your skill set, applying what you have learned here today, because it's not deep. Don't let society tell you that it's so much more complex or complicated than that. It really boils down to one thing. That's, what do you believe? And you got to make a choice. And before you leave here, I want you to make that choice. You don't have to say it out loud to me, but I want you to make that choice for yourself. Because the choices that you make on what you believe will drive your actions, the very next steps that you do in life. The first thing I want you to do is to believe in yourself. And that might sound cheesy to you, but if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. It starts from the inside out. Believe that you can do it. Know that you can do it. I'm telling you that if it worked for me, it will work for anybody. The second thing I want you to do is to choose to believe that opportunity is for you. Not out there. I mean, it's for you.
Opportunity has your name on it. It has a set date and a time for you to take it. It's just a matter of whether or not you believe that's true. And the last thing I'll leave you with is just to believe that the future is bright for you. Don't surround yourself with negative people. Don't surround yourself with people that tell you what you can't do, how hard life is, how unfair everything is. Like, the future is bright for you. And you have to make that choice. Because what you believe is going to drive your whole life. Because belief is what turns your dreams into reality. I appreciate your guys' time. My name is Saul.